Yeah, maybe, or like 15 or 20 or whatever it is. It's something fucking crazy.
And you always play the same person. Did you ever play like 2 different people?
Yeah, but then I wouldn't be playing 4 tables, whatever, yeah.
Garrett raising on the button with queen 4. Hank calls with 9s. Espen's got king jack. Could see a 3-bet here. And he is dialing it up. 6,300. This is where it gets interesting because Garrett gets out of the way, but Hank's hand is really under-repped. I mean, Hank definitely could have 3-bet with 9s. He decided not to.
Back then, like, internet poker was just super fun. No one knew anything, like, cheating wasn't a thing, like the way it's like on present now. Like, it was so fucking fun. Like, I hated having to sit in a room alone because I'm so extroverted, but everything else about online poker.
Hank makes the call. Pot's got 14,000 in it. And queen 10-5 flop. Espen with the overcards and the straight draw.
Everyone played back then, huh?
Man, the 9 of hearts on the turn would just be absolute juice.
Rounders and then like moneymaker one, and it was like game over. Just like,
some people would, deposit a few times.
Espen does not fire at it, and he hits his king.
I think it was pretty close to when I started that everything got set. Like, it definitely wasn't a very long.
Yeah. Even things like limit hold'em, to let you in on the convo, Ray. Even things like limit hold'em forever ago, like, you just have like 3 guys of the 9, just like, just
Hank checks. See if Espen fires here. Or
But you can still win.
Checks it back one more time.
Barely knowing what you're doing.
Are these guys like having a really terrible conversation at a restaurant because they're just like, check, please? They just want to leave, because they're just checking so much. You get it? Because at the restaurant, because if you're having the bad conversation, you get the check. When they're doing a lot of checking, you see what I'm saying?
I don't get it.
Okay. Someday you will grow in your humor to the point that you understand. Until that day, we can talk about poker. And you can at least, handle that to the level of a preschooler.
Wait. Check, please.
Yeah.
Because they're checking.
Yeah.
I get it.
Because it's 4 checks so far.
Because it's like a coat check. Because like your coat check.
It's
you
check
your coat.
That's 100% right. That's
hat check.
that's what I was going for, the hat check.
Yeah.
Speaking of the hat check, nobody's wearing a hat. What's with that? Espen Jorstad not even wearing a hat despite his main event win. Feels like he could afford a hat or 2.
Nope. You got to, put it all into the next big poker tournament.
Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, all right. Everything pre-flop is pretty normal.
Ish.
Hank could have definitely 3-bet in this situation with a third blind in who's a good player when Garrett, of all people, opens the button and you have 2 9s.
Also, Hank could have definitely 4-bet once Espen puts in the squeeze play here with 2 9s, although that's a little bit closer and a little bit weirder, but still he could definitely just essentially move in and win the pot a lot here and even get it in oftentimes in reasonable shape.
Yeah, Espen is somewhat short and he's clearly capable of squeezing. It feels like we have enough fold equity and a good enough hand that's actually my preferred play.
Yeah.
It's a bit of an awkward size to do it with, but it's fine.
If we're not going to 3-bet.
Yeah.
I think 3-betting is the clear play.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, I'm with you.
All right, so we get to this flop because it's played this way pre-flop, and we get this pretty good flop for King Jack of Spades, but Espen checks back. Discuss.
Yeah. It's surprising for sure. This feels like perfectly fine for Espen's range. The only thing I can think of is he's worried about stack size considerations here, where he might bet with a hand that has a lot of equity, right? It's open-ended with the overcard, and still, if he gets raised big, it's effectively a committing raise, and it's too much to be able to put in more money, and so he doesn't want that situation, so he's just dodging it all by checking. It's the best thing I can do. I would still expect to bet even with those things I just said, though.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we're sitting here with King High. This is the exact type of hand that we can fold out, and that would be great, right? To fold out 9s right now, just not have to deal with trying to improve to beat them.
Yep.
That sounds pretty good. I mean, we do have the element of surprise on our side now. Like, it's a little harder to put us on an open ender when we get there.
True.
We're not going to be put on King Jack that frequently when we 3-bet pre-flop anyway.
But also, like, an ace comes, that's one of the cards that makes our open ender, and guess what? That's going to scare off a lot of our opponent's potential range. Now, when it improves him, fine, but that would improve him anyway.
I mean, the other side of that is an ace comes and Hank has an ace, and then he pays off.
Right,
whereas,
sure.
Yeah. So that's nice.
like if we bet now, if he calls and we hit the ace, then we get a bigger pot.
Yeah, but
bigger
he's probably
pot
going to fold the
win.
weak aces anyway now.
Yeah, but that's okay. We have king high. We're
No,
losing.
we want
It's
we
okay
want
for him
we
to
want
fold.
the big pot. We don't care about this pot. No, it's a bit of a surprising check bet for sure. The turn goes check check again.
Yes, less surprising than the
Yeah.
flop, but still a little surprising.
I don't see any reason for Hank to start firing, so that seems normal.
Yeah, on the king.
I actually do find this less surprising, like you said, than the flop check back because now we have showdown value. We can just call pretty much anything on the river and feel really good about it.
Yeah.
And we can get a value no matter what a bet's going on in the river. We're making sure, unless it's a really bad card like a jack, maybe we check back on a jack.
Right, but like even a jack, which the jack of diamonds is like the worst possible card,
Yeah.
right? Even that, if the jack of diamonds comes and Hank makes a bet, we can strongly consider calling. We've got 2 pair. Like
we can also fold though.
Right, it's up to us. We're Espen. We can trust ourselves.
Jack of clubs equally bad, by the way.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But like those are the 2 sort of worst cards in the deck, and they ain't that bad. We still have a pretty good hand. Like there's not much to protect against, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I kind of like the check back here just to like control the pot and maybe get value from a weaker hand on the river. It's harder to get value now when it really looks like we have a lot of kings in our range.
It does. At the same point, if our opponent has a 10 or a queen or even a jack in his hand, he's probably going to call.
Yeah.
And maybe we can get value now and maybe even value later, depending on what comes on the river.
Espen only cares about getting value in tournaments.
Fair enough.
He doesn't
But
care about.
I do think you're right that he probably thinks he's getting 1 street of value once this king comes on this board and figures, I'll bluff catch instead of like mostly folding him out right here.
I'll fold you out right here is the type of thing you would hear on nitro betting if it were live poker and people were talking like that, like it's the old-timey poker, but it's online poker, so you aren't actually going to hear them, and it's nitro betting, so there's also sports betting and casino games and promotions, so this is all irrelevant. The point is, use the link in our pinned tweet when you sign up to get access to our cool promotions, right, Jonathan?
That is exactly the point.
Yeah.
And you said it beautifully.
I did say it beautifully. I should run for political office on that platform. I'm going to do the exact thing that I just said.
I'm voting against you no matter what you have.
Yeah, but that's because on nitro betting, I crush you every time.
Every time.
Backdoor clubs get there. Neither player. With clubs. Hank's got one of them. I got to imagine Hank's just going to give up, and this is going to go check, and then probably a bet, a small little bet by Espen.
Many people have made the joke you made where you threw in many time chips at once, but it works every time. It's funny every single time somebody does it.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't novel.
Yeah.
And I kept
Wow.
all in. It was like...
And Hank, look at Espen thinking about this one. Wow.
Look, everything about it was the perfect setup for a bluff. I had not a strong hand, but the right hand if it's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
Hank bluffed earlier with the 4-bet when he had Jack 10 of spades. Does this every once in a while.
10 seconds.
Wow, nice play there by Hank.
That's a big honkin' bet from a guy named Hank. That's what that is.
Yep.
All right. So I think I have a general thought on Hank's thought process throughout this hand.
Okay.
To lead him to make this bet, which is, okay, when Espen 3-bets and checks back on the flop and the turn, he often has a showdownable hand. Most of the showdownable hands in his range are better than mine. So if I want to win this hand, I'm going to need to bluff most of the time, right? So that's part one. Part two is the clubs did come in on the turn, and Espen did not bet. Espen is much more likely to bet clubs on the turn than Hank is, although they both could bet clubs on the turn, but Espen has the 3-better pre-flop. When he doesn't bet the turn, it's like, oh, he doesn't have very many clubs at all in his range.
And to be clear, when Grant says come in, you mean there's a flush draw now for clubs. Yeah. And so
Yeah.
you'd expect a flush draw to bet that if it's Espen.
Right, so you're not putting him on too many flush draws that get there.
Yep.
And in the case that he could possibly play hands that way, which as we see he checked King Jack on the flop, maybe he would play clubs that way sometimes. As Hank, we have pretty good blockers. 2 9s block Jack 9, which is an unlikely hand, but it is a straight.
Yep.
And we also have the 9 of clubs. So if we're going to make this move, this is one of the better hands to do it with. It might actually be the nut hand to do this move with.
I mean, the Jack of clubs has got to be better, but still, it's a very good hand to do
Jacks
it
with the Jack of clubs, although we might feel less like we need to bluff with that hand.
Right. It would be more like Jack 8 suited. It's hard to come up with. No, suited would be clubs.
So it's actually this hand.
It's really hard. It'd be Jack 10. It's actually Jack 10.
Which
with the
is
Jack
similar
clubs.
to Jack's as far as
It's also similar to this hand in
Yeah.
terms of showdown value.
This
really.
might be, it's nut or close to nut hand to make this bluff with.
Sure. I mean, you'd rather the Jack is also Black Sage Jack. But anyway, the thing that I have a problem with, though, I think all that reasoning is very fine. And actually, we could really decide to try and bluff here. I just don't know why we bet so much. Can't we bet 24,000 or 20,000? We're still betting 1.5 times the pot here. Can't we do that and be almost as effective as 44,000? I suspect we can.
I agree with you. It feels like we are getting not that much more fold equity for a much higher price.
Right.
Unless there's something else going on between these guys, which I have no reason to believe. It seems likely that he probably bet too much for what he's trying to accomplish. He is giving up a little bit of extra money the times he gets called.
I also think that, look, these are both telling a polarizing story, but 44,000 is telling an extraordinarily polarizing story, where 20,000 at least is more like, I missed value that maybe I could have gotten, and now I'm trying to make up for or something like that because you kept checking. It's harder to believe the 44,000 than the $20,000 bet also. So I think the story is worse, and I don't know that we get more fold equity. So that's my real concern.
I agree, but I actually like Hank's thought process that he knows that he has to bet big based on Espen's line.
Agreed.
Espen's plan is to call with a slightly better hand than this, like all the time, right? Like I can't bet 7,000 and expect it to ever work.
It is never folding out ace 10, let alone this hand, right?
Right. So he knows he has to go big. I don't know if it's just by luck that he happens to have a good combo to do this with, but he does have a good combo to do this with. So I think like overall the thought behind this is pretty good.
Yep.
I actually like it quite a bit. I agree that the sizing is a bit too big.
And I think sizing up like way more than pot is smart. Like I think even pot is probably getting called by a lot of things because the story's a little weird. But 1.5, if you really want to lose your mind, 25,000 then. Like you want to push up 30,000. Why 44?
Yeah. Yeah. And Espen, he has a decision here, but if you don't know a lot about Hank, it's probably better in practice just to fold until you know more, right? Like I know it's a weird story from Hank, but like until you know more about Hank, is it really worth calling with this hand? We don't block clubs. If we had King Jack with the Jack of clubs, maybe we have to call.
I think we do.
Yeah, but we don't block clubs at all, and we don't have we have like a pretty good hand in our range, but not among our best hands that we show up with.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's fine just to fold and move on and like try to get some more data about Hank before making calls like this. So I think Espen played it fine. Hank found a way, which is pretty cool.
It is. Congratulations, Hank, on winning a hand you probably had no business winning.
Yeah.
So that's what we think. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. What plays did you like? What plays did you hate? What do you agree and disagree of our opinions? Tell us everything. We want to hear what you have to say.
It sounds like you just recorded that for all of the closing. It
I
had
wish I
nothing to
did.
do with the hand.
I would save so much time.
Yeah, he actually did that for this specific hand. I'm not going to name the hand. So maybe
smart.
Oh, it might have to do with Scandinavian. Maybe. I can't tell you.
Cards and poker, perhaps.
Yeah.
Not chess, but maybe
For more
chess.
discussion like this, check out our Discord. We'll see you there.